Well, hi. Okay, I don't know, I've been making a lot of videos lately, but I don't know, this is practically, I think, the most important videos out of all my videos I've been making about. But basically, this video has been requested by my family because they said that there's a lot of people out there that don't know that they've been suffered with depression. So maybe I could help people by doing such videos, maybe like telling people how depression feels like, how do I feel like from the very beginning, and how do I get myself diagnosed with depressions. So basically today's video is gonna be about basically the textbook symptom for what depression is. Maybe it's one way or another gonna help you guys with it, but I don't know. Depression is something that's not something that one size fits all. So yeah, let's just go through it, and then maybe you can analyze yourself whether you have it or not. The first thing, what depression feels like, most of the time you constantly there's a constant feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. For example, my situation, I felt like I've been trapped in these black tunnels where there's no end to it, and then I can't find a way out of it. Whilst I was in that tunnel, I felt angry, I felt sad, I felt frustrated because I can't find any way out of it. I can't find the key to open the door to get me to the door for the exit for the tunnels. And then the second one is probably something that quite general. Every people who suffered with depression, oftentimes they will have this kind of symptom, which is loss of interest in daily activities. I mean, like for example, if you have a hobbies, like for me, I love to read a book, I love to write, and I love to travel. But when my depression kicks in, I don't feel like doing anything. Just like previously, last week I bought 2 books, which is, the storyline was not really interesting for me, but I don't really have any interest in actually finishing it, where I stuck in the middle of the book, which the climax of the books, and then where it's literally the best part of the books, and then where the next page, and then the half part of the book is probably gonna solve everything about the situation in that books. So yeah, you lost interest in your daily activities. And then the third one is changes in appetite or weight. This is probably quite different from person to person because the way you cope with your stress. There's some people, like for me, the way I cope it, I lost my appetite because I am not that kind of person from the very beginning, doesn't eat much. So when my depression kicked in, it reduced my food intake to the max, where I feel disgust with food. I just don't want to eat. If I eat, I just felt like vomiting most of the time. I felt dizzy about it. I felt like eating is a chore. But there's some other people, which is different prospect. The way they cope with their stress is by eating. So this kind of person who, if they are having depression, they will try to cope with it by eating a lot, so to start to gain a lot of weight. And yeah, that's how depression are. And then sleep changes, it could be insomnia, where like currently it's basically 2 o'clock in the morning and I can't even sleep. And then usually almost every day I slept at 6:30 in the morning. So that's what probably depression do. And then for some other people, they will have hypersomnia, where they just sleep most of the time, because maybe one way to look at it, maybe the way that they're coping with it, because when you're having depression, there's a lot of things going on in your head, and then most of the time we call it intrusive thoughts, where some people find it, the way to cope with it, the way to stop thinking is by sleeping. So yeah, that's why some people have this hyper insomnia. And then the fifth one is anger and irritability. For example, you get agitated by small thing. Like for example, during my therapy session, there's these two kids in front of me. They just waiting for their turn to actually get into the therapist room, and then but they can't stop shouting, they can't stop quarreling between themselves. When I get really agitated by it, I felt like slapping them in the face. I literally felt like kicking them in the balls, just threw them somewhere. And yeah, that's what it is. And then sometimes small stuff can trigger us, which is like for example what happened in Malaysia. I think Farid Kamil, everybody know Farid Kamil, which he literally punched a policeman. I think because that kind of thing, that simple thing can trigger us. Even like if like for there's one time when I was back in Russia, I was like looking for my favorite potato chips, and then I can't find it. I literally get angry there, and I start crying and that kind of stuff. And then just a simple thing, just a small thing, just a simple potato chips, but that kind of triggered me to the core of it. And then the sixth one, loss of energy. That's something common, where the loss of energy is due to a lot of thinking, overthinking, the intrusive thought that we've been battling with our head every single day. So it manifests in the physical sense, where when you're thinking a lot, all those things have basically that leads to chemical changes in your body, where you literally feel weak most of the day. That's why you're feeling demotivated most of the time, because you don't have energy to do even a simple thing. Even to take a bath is a chore. Even to brush your teeth is a chore. Even to cook for yourself, it's a really big chore. And then reckless behaviors. And then for example, I don't really have a reckless behaviors. Like for example, maybe there's one time where in Malaysia we have this thing called around the board, where there's a circle where the car just turn around it to actually get to one places to another places. So I just literally went out without even seeing a car. So there's a lorry that almost hit me, but I don't feel anything about it. I don't feel scared at all. I just feel like who cares? If I die right now, then who's gonna care? That kind of stuff. Reckless behaviors. And then number 9 is concentration problem. This happened during my last final exam, where I can't really concentrate at all. I was supposed to study for my infectious diseases, but instead of studying, I've been crying. I've been reading all my notes, but what ended up happening, the tears can't stop flowing because I can't concentrate. And then even a simple word can't enter my mind. It's like literally burdening. It's literally, I don't know, it's a hurdle in itself to actually concentrate. And most of the time I'll be having brain fog. I said something, but then I wrote another thing. I think about something, but I said something else, that kind of stuff. And then unexplainable aches and pain. This is number 10, probably the last one. Unexplainable aches and pain. This is what literally been happening to me most of the time, where I felt there's tons of my whole body just felt like in a lot of pain, especially in my back, in my neck, in my middle back, lower back, and my feet all just, I don't know, it's constantly in pain. Just like walking out from one point to another point felt like there's a ball, the prisoner ball, being hanging, or you're stuck with prisoner ball on your feet, and then you're just dragging yourself from one point to another point. That's how depression feels like. So yeah, I guess that's just it from me for today. I hope it helps. I hope it maybe gives you a little bit of picture how depression works and how depression feels like. So yeah, to end this, like I always said, just keep strong, keep pushing on, stay alive, and stay alive, even just for another day. So yeah, ciao and peace out, yo.